Yeah. What's amusing, for the lack of a better word for me, to me is, how come no one asks you that, hey, you lost weight. Is that a healthy weight loss? Are things okay? Just checking in, because losing 18, 19 kgs should see such a drastic difference on the body.
Okay, let me add that on my pile. I had not thought about this previously.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Therapeutic Podcast. As the name suggests, this podcast is everything about therapy and mental health, hosted by two counseling psychologists who have a lot to say, and who would otherwise just sit beside a fireside and talk about it. So instead, here we are. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy.
All right, so coming back to what Zainab said about, menstruation and how it changes our body, I am kind of excited to discuss this because this is something that I have discovered about myself very recently. So I have discovered I've started to notice the changes that occur during the different cycles of menstruation in myself, and I also learned that these cycles have an effect. I mean, I knew that they have an effect on our mood, but I didn't know that, physically they could also affect us. So I was very kind of both glad and shocked to know that during the luteal phase, or the a week before our periods, we do get a lot of bloating. For some people it's acne, with the side effects, of course, of the mood that goes on. uh, and also that during the ovulation phase, how our hormones can work up and we feel really good about ourselves. And I have noticed that in myself too. So now I do not want this to be, going out like how our bodies are controlled by the menstruation cycle, but it's a really big part because a lot of hormones do work up inside our body during the whole cycle, and it's a whole month, and it covers almost entire year, right? And every week or with every 14 days there is something that is going on, and it gave me a really kind of a relief to know that, okay, so this could also be a cause of it, so I do not always have to worry about me getting bloated or getting that acne every time within a month, and do something about it.
I was talking to a yoga teacher who's also a PCOS educator, women's fertility coach, and she used this very simple yet so like Ayurvedically and yogic philosophy embedded thing that cis men, they follow the sun cycle, which basically means the sun rises up every morning, it sets every day, so there's a reset happening every 24 hours. Whereas cis women, they follow more of a moon cycle. So we have like 28 sort of days phase, right? So there are so many differences. And what happened is that within, sometimes, again, the industrial revolution, which you beautifully brought in, and it's so important because it started emphasizing on the cookie cutter sort of version of every person. That this is how everyone should look like, be like, behave like, talk like, dress like. Yeah,
Mm.
especially in terms of the sex. But we are very different. Our bodies are extremely, extremely different. Yeah. But a lot of research, if you also start picking up in terms of, say, intermittent fasting, yeah, which is such a fad. It still is, it was, it still is. Or even workout regimes, the research has been done so heavily on men as participants that
Mm.
women, their personal body cycles, they've just been completely eliminated, especially the menstrual cycle, which does come in with body image. Like, as you mentioned, the slight changes that happen. Like, I for sure know that I start to become very bloated and gassy. So if I expect myself to be a certain body shape all days during the month, of course I will be disappointed if I've been told that. Right? I won't be embracing that authenticity of my own cycle and how my body operates. Even thinking about puberty, for that matter, I don't remember anyone educating me that I will suddenly get these facial, not facial hair, armpits, pubic hair, hard hair. And I was like, is there something wrong with me? Because all my life I've seen my mother getting it waxed, right? So she's basically been hairless. But here I am growing hair out of weird areas, but I don't know how to deal with this. I feel bad, like my body is sort of dirty, you know? So different things that we definitely have not been educated about by the system in schools or our families for that matter. Or
Right.
even perimenopausal women, they go through so many changes, right? The hot flushes and how it impacts their energy levels and how it impacts their weight, also skin. No one is talking about it. It's just now that these conversations are starting.
I can see the frustration in your voice, Saumya. Right.
Because
Well,
I
I
work
also
with so
like.
many women on that area, so I can generally I think I'm talking from all of their perspective.
No, but as you mentioned, right, like definitely when we even talk about scientific research about body image, even if it has been done on women, although there are very few to be fair,
Very few.
but they have not been taking into account the changes that come because of the menstrual cycle and the way our perception also changes on our own body image throughout the cycle. Of course, in the the premenstrual phase, there was in fact one I could find only one paper about it though that did say that we tend to think negatively and a little bit anxiously about our appearance during the premenstrual as compared to what we do in the ovulation cycle. So all of
Hmm.
these, if we do not take it into the account, then of course, I mean, the numbers are also going to look fudged because it's not the correct statistics that we're talking about here.
Yeah. And even postnatal, after pregnancy, after delivering a baby. I have friends who have delivered a baby and how much pressure they felt. Like they felt a sense of relief when they came back to their so-called normal body weight. But up until then, they were like, oh my God, why am I retaining this weight? All of this mass, this, that, the other. There was so much anxiety. I'm like, you've just literally given birth to another human being out of your body. You're just supposed to chill and relax and be taken care of. But no, there's that rush to go back to that because
Yeah.
again, no one is talking about how difficult it can be.
I think this
And
actually reminds me of this actor from the Hindi film industry who recently had a baby and very proudly was discussing how the child went on to shoot for a song and looked beautiful in that song because, the
Uh-huh.
actor's wearing saris and everything. And there were constant conversations on social media about how she's bounced back and she's looking amazing. And all I could think of was, what about those women who do not have the means to bounce back? I mean, she obviously has an army working with her. She can leave her child and, go shoot for a movie or whatever. But the kind of expectations that gives to normal women that are not, that do not have that kind of an army, that do not have those kind of resources also to immediately bounce back, to look a certain way, to leave their child, which was so sad. I mean, I've not had children, but I still felt bad. I said, Will this be expected of me as well?" Because I think from what I've also read and heard is women do experience sorts of hair fall and all of that postmortem. I mean, postmortem. I'm saying sorry. Once they've had once they've had a child and all of that, but she's just out here looking amazing, and we're all
Yeah.
expected to. People are praising her. They think she's a goddess for looking a certain way, but I don't think they understand the kind of work also that goes behind doing these things or looking a certain way.
Yeah. Zainab, even the words bounce back as if the
Yeah,
body that they were in during that time is not theirs or something that is not okay.
yeah. It's like they expect the female body to be like a balloon. It's going to come back to its shape.
Mm-hmm.
the language in itself says a lot. It's just the way we are talking about. I think it's okay. It's really great that you have a whole army that is working with you, that you can maybe work on your body and make it look the way you want to, that makes you feel good about it. But it's the whole perception of the language that we are using is really needs to be in check, because that is what is really undermining the kind of efforts that even people who work upon themselves, or who do not have the means to do that, and the people who are actually kind of working but maybe not getting the desired results that they want, is the whole language is undermining their efforts.
Yeah. And as a means, I'd say if a parent or anyone is hearing this, if there's someone in your life who's going through these changes, it can be a teenager who's hitting puberty or a friend who's going through pregnancy or perimenopausal. one thing that you can do is just, prepare them that, hey, this is normal, this is okay, that is also your body. It's a natural process wave that women's body are going through. I'm so sorry that people do not show that part of themselves, like they have to hide that till the time they're so-called bouncing back. But that's completely okay, especially teenagers, especially them.
And it kind of scares me the way things are shown in the media, in the glamour world, the kind of efforts that are put in. I have sort of found myself questioning if anything is real there. And I think it's good in a way that I'm sort of challenging all those things that are shown in there, because it's really not healthy. At least for me, it's not healthy.
I was very recently, I had a mini breakdown about my body where I was a
Mm.
little upset about how I suddenly one day looked a certain way. And then one day I just found it difficult to lose weight. I mean, I exercise regularly, I do everything. And then my mom sat me down and she told me, you do realize you're not a teenager anymore. You are in your 20s, which means there will be certain things that your body might find difficult to do. So you have to slow down because naturally your body is also slowing down. As much as we hate to think about it, we are slowing our bodies down. Our bodies are slowing down. We need to relax. So I think it was nice that she told me that it's okay. She looked at we looked at our old pictures and told, look, I look so thin here and I thought I looked fat then. But then what am I now? And then she told me, Zainab, that was you, but that was a different you during a different time. And now this is you, but you're still you, right? It doesn't matter. Your body is the same. You just feel like you look a certain way, which is okay. My major concern was I'm eating home food. I'm exercising. I'm doing everything. Yet there are days where I don't want to wear yoga pants because I feel like I look like one big ball. And then there are days where I wear yoga pants and feel amazing. I feel like, great body. So it's just,
Yeah. Oh
Next
God,
time.
Zainab, I had goosebumps when you said that. I mean, how wonderful it must be for you to just sit with your mother and she actually speaking to you like that with so much love and so much care and telling you that that was not bad you, ugly you, fat you. It was also you and this is also you.
That's why I love Zainab's mother for these things, that she really does consider her concerns in such a soft and a kind way. I've heard so many
Wow.
examples over the years.
We should have
But
gotten Zainab's mother as a guest as well then.
oh yeah, yeah. I think
sorry,
she could have
next
dialed down
time.
the negativity that all of us are feeling right now. But also, Zainab, when you were talking about it, right, like looking at our old pictures and the age factor that comes in. So I think I have to share this. When I recently, I mean, not recently, when I was in my starting of 20s, like 2021, I lost a lot of weight, like 18 to 20 kgs, which was sort of a transformation for my own self. But it was during the whole COVID phase, and I was doing exercise at that time. At least I did not have a goal of reducing my weight. I just did it because that was the only way that was getting helping me get through my day during that whole COVID phase. But then when it eventually happened, and then when we were coming out, going to college and meeting people, everything was a little bit better. So when people actually saw that, I was receiving a lot of compliments. Yes, I was feeling good that I could fit in a certain clothing size that I could not wear previously. On the other hand, I also had certain people say that, okay, this is a lot. Like, look at your bones. We can see your bones. And then there were some people who were saying, oh, this is great. You should not, gain back whatever you've lost. Just try to maintain it. Try to do whatever you are doing. So, in a way, it just made me feel like, okay, I did not do it for any of you. I just did it. I did not even do it to reduce my weight. I just did it because I wanted something on my days to feel better. I cannot say that it did not hurt, but it was also something that at that point I was very used to hearing, because I had been sort of overweight my whole life. And I knew that if I suddenly looked a certain way, people are going to be commenting on that. So, but now when I am looking a certain way, and whenever I eat something, or whenever I, don't exercise a certain day, these dialogues keep coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's amusing, for the lack of a better word for me, to me, is how come no one asked you that, hey, you lost weight. Is that a healthy weight loss? Are things okay? Just checking in, because losing 18, 19 kgs should see such a drastic difference on the body. People, they just assumed you're healthy. Could it not have been some other condition that you were going through? But no one asked that.
Okay, let me add that on my pile. I had not thought about this previously.
No, I was really curious. I'll just tell you why. Because
Yeah, yeah.
I also have a friend whom I met after a long while, and it's evident. See, when things change on the body, everyone can see them. Doesn't mean that we have to talk about them, right? But some people make it their business too. So when I met this friend, another friend of mine who was with me, she directly jumped into, "Oh, you've lost so much weight! Amazing! How did you do it? This, that, the other." And a part of me genuinely felt concerned somehow, and I brought that question, that how is your health? And she was sick. She had a condition due to which her hair were falling, she was losing weight, a lot of things were happening. It was not healthy. I mean, people assume it's healthy, they're fit, but it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, before we jump into the last segment, there's something a little that I like to share, and maybe you all can also pitch in. Is that for me personally, I spent 18 to 21, that age of mine, in a girls' college, which genuinely helped me because jumping from a co ed school, I had my own issues with my body. And then when I suddenly jumped into a girls' college, it was amazing. I'd see girls wearing pajamas and coming to school. I'd see girls fully like dressed, wearing makeup, and nobody cared. I don't think during those 3 to 4 years of my life I ever thought about what my body looks like, which was great. I do not have any memory of ever thinking that I looked bad. Then it again started when I jumped into a co-ed college
Yeah.
again for my masters. But I also think that just maybe the thought process was also that there is no boy that I might like in college, so I don't have to look a certain way. Maybe that was also the driving force of me feeling nice, and the driving force for a lot of other girls in college as well. But do you all think that makes a difference? You know?
Absolutely. At least for me, it did it in the school times. And I was not a very confident teenager at all. Confident, what I didn't even know that, that I'm not supposed to be feeling the way I am feeling about my body. There was no one who could tell me that, to normalize all those things that I was thinking about. So yes, it was a big issue for me. It goes,
Yeah.
I think it goes for every, I see, at least at the teenage level, every girl does think about that, waking up in the morning and dressing up a certain way in the school. We were not even allowed to put on, one pony at least, or manage our hair the way we want to, because that's how schools are in India. And so we tried to do everything we could, even within those two pony restriction, we tried to do everything we could to try to look good, and whatever gloss we could use to apply on our lips, or hide everything that we had.
Yeah, same. I guess not because of the sexuality part. Even like, so I am bisexual, so I guess it's more about, no matter what sexuality a girl has, there's so much objectification from men that generally I've seen happens, and I've heard my clients and people in the group also talk about just objectification from cousin brothers, or brother siblings also. ऐसी है ये नहीं पहनना है वो नहीं पहनना है. So I guess the co-ed factor, less about liking or not liking men. It's just that feeling of safety within our own community, in a way that, yeah, I'm okay. There are women around and I'll be taken care of. We're all going through our own thing. So I genuinely do feel that sense of community, because I also I did my undergrad in a girls' college. And I guess it would be so much harder if I was struggling with acne during that time being in a co-ed. It would have been really, really hard for me. Yeah.
So we've discussed a lot about all the issues that maybe a girl or a woman faces with regards to her body image. And as three young women who also have gone through similar struggles, maybe we can share a few things that we think might help. Of course, not as a permanent solution, but at least just to go through our day to day lives.
I just wanted to also point out that for most things that I'm talking about right now will be related to cis women, because trans women, there are different layers that are added on when it comes to body image, the body dysmorphia, or so unfortunately, I do not have a lot to say about that. Yeah, but when it comes to cis women, one thing that I really like, so it's just how when I was talking about the disconnection and the authenticity that happens, being in nature has really, and I am saying I'm going to give very cliche tips right now because there's no one answer to this thing called body image concerns.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So because nature has really been such a big inspiration for me. As humans, we're also part of nature, right? So I draw a lot in my personal and professional practice from just the laws of it. And there's so much diversity in nature. Like every tree looks different, every bark looks different. There'll be something happening. And we don't go and say, like, this is good, this is bad. It's just the tree, how it's functioning, right? So for me, I've seen that I feel a sense of acceptance or just a sense of comfort when I'm connected to different elements of nature. Really check in what kind of profiles you're following. And it's not to say that the people you're following are bad, just check in how much is it working or not working out for you. Yeah, how can you rewire your brain? Yeah.
And not to interject, but since we are on the social media topic, for the people who don't know this, I mean, a lot of people might already, but there is a slight certain way of controlling the kind of content you are exposed to. There's just a little three
Yeah.
button options that you can
Yes.
click on, and gives you a not interested option. You can just click that, and Instagram will be very kind to not show you those kind of posts again. So for people who don't know, I think I
Absolutely.
continue, Soumya.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. And along with Instagram per se, even consuming like the movies, the series you're watching, like sex education, there's so much diversity in that one show, yeah, as compared to say, what is that? Some other random movie, chick flick movie that was on, right? Just white, typical looking women of a particular body shape who speak like that. So Orange is the New Black, so much diversity in that as well. Watching that kind of shows and series, that is one thing. And again, I'd say I cannot emphasize the importance of community because it is a communal thing. Being alone in this journey is really tiresome. Fighting with the entire system and world that is created around with so many shoulds and musts, it's really tiring. And that is why we brought in the groups as well. So we do have communities also. You don't need to be a part of the group therapy. You can be part of the community. So there are women, cis women who can share, and we connect monthly just to talk sometimes. We have not started with offline events, but yeah, probably just meetups and things like that. Just find that community. It can be within, like Zainab, you have your mother, right? That is also in a way community. Someone you can relate to, feel safe with, and they can stand with you when you're having all of those attack from the thoughts and the perceptions of the society.
If you're talking about that, Soumya, would you like to give more details of if anyone wants to, contact your group? Yeah.
Sure. So you can probably link my contact details in the show notes. Yeah, you can just reach out. How the group is structured basically is we have 8 sessions. We meet weekly on one day for 1.5 hours, and the group size is comparatively small, like around 5 to 6 people, so that we can talk openly. Also, we can feel safe, but also there is not that privacy of just one-on-one. Yeah, and within that, we address a lot of themes that we have already mentioned before. And once that group ends, also, there is a leeway into how can you be a part of a bigger community where you can stay connected and keep working on these things. Because this group, we say, is a starting to a long, long journey. It's not the answer or the end destination, but it's a starting. And the women that we're all working with, they've just seen the impact of the group coming together, different women coming together, and not feeling that sense of isolation in this journey. Yeah.
That's really beautiful. Thank you for giving that information, Soumya. I hope
Yeah.
people do connect with you. Uh,
Hmm.
And we have mentioned, a lot of things that were fear-based, a lot of worries that we have about our body that are fear-based. And I hope on a community level we do, improve bit by bit and sooner, if not later. But until then, there's a lot that we can do, work upon ourselves, the way we talk about our own bodies. It's going to sound very cognitive, but it's very important, the way the internal dialogues that we have about ourselves. Whenever we are looking at a reflective surface and we look at ourselves, it's the comments that you're passing about yourself would are kind enough, are welcoming enough. And even though self acceptance or even achieving body acceptance is a very long journey, it starts with very small steps, as small as you talking great about yourself. And when I say this, I also feel a little bit of cringe when I say that you should be very grateful or feel gratitude about your body. But recently, I came across this activity or the idea of eliminating the experiences. So asking yourself, agar ye nahi hota, to kaisa hota? So imagine if you did not have any of the part of your body, or imagine the part that you probably do not like about yourself. If you did not have it, what it's going to be like? So maybe it will help you be a little bit more grateful and accepting of that part. And even if you do not want to feel, and I just want to make it clear that body acceptance does not really mean that you need to love everything that you have, and it is not in any way promoting unhealthy body, but it's also about accepting yourself just the way you are, so that you are more open to change in a positive way and in a healthy way. Yeah.
I think adding to what Meenal said, what I personally do sometimes is if I'm feeling a certain way about my body, I sit down and I open my period tracker app and I look at my cycle and I see what phase I'm in and I realize, oh, that's why I'm feeling this way. Maybe because I'm going to get my period next week and maybe it's my hormones talking more than because I didn't feel that way last week. So why am I feeling that way this week? So for me, it works that way because at least I get an idea that acha, something like this is happening in my body. Maybe that's why I'm feeling that way. Otherwise, I don't really think I have this issue. Again, this is a very topmost layer kind of thing. I think there are more deep issues that I might have with my body, which I haven't explored. But at least on the base level, I know कि अच्छा ठीक है, you know, I don't like myself because my period is coming. So for me, it works that way. Or sometimes just sitting and trying to figure out ki, why did I think so? Like it can also happen while you're scrolling through social media and you see something and you realize ki, this person's the same age as me. How do they look this way? And I don't. So just maybe sitting down and relaxing and thinking, ki, why did I think that? What is something in my body that I don't like, and why are these thoughts coming in? And then again, I also urge people to be open with their friends and friends to be more accepting of these conversations. Like Soumya said, the the reason why the group therapy is such a success because women are realizing that there are other women like them with same issues. I mean, different issues, but same. It's in the same bracket, right? That it falls under, and maybe they feel that way because they do not have people outside in their life who are open to these conversations. So at least as women, cis women, we can be accepting of our friends telling us ki sometimes when a friend tells you, oh, you put on weight, we say, hey, no, yeah, but we don't ask
Mhm.
them why they feel that way. No, maybe they genuinely feel like they've put on weight, and we can
Yeah.
ask them what makes you feel that way. It's okay. It's not that
Yeah.
we've been told that somebody's trying to get attention when they say कि I've put on weight, so they want the other person to say, no, no, you look beautiful. Most of the times, that's not what the person's expecting.
Yeah.
They maybe they're expecting you to ask them questions so that they can open up finally and tell you that they are feeling a certain way. So
Yeah. I'm so glad you pointed out that menstrual cycle thing because, like, I think, Meena, you were saying the luteal phase, the 1 week before periods. We also go on sort of energy saving because our body is preparing, right? And I would not go
yes.
into the specifics of it because I am not
Mm.
the master of science when it comes to that. But because our body is also conserving energy, but we're supposed to work and go out there, so our energy can really deplete. Our eyes, there can be underbags during that time, or we might not be the best in terms of our hair health, this, that. So it does make an impact. So find that little compassion for yourself that, hey, it's okay. Yeah.
And it says a lot about how suffering, getting to know about other people's or communal suffering can help us make us feel better. Because we also get to know
Absolutely.
that, the if I am somewhat a larger form of person, I would also get to know that person who I considered as thin or better looking in a certain way, they are also struggling the same way. So that really tells you that everybody has issues that they are trying to deal with, and you're not
Yeah.
alone. While you're trying to deal with yourself, you, just by sharing your story or just by saying it out loud, you can help so many people debunk that.
So many, so many. It's, I love to talk about how we used to be like in the tribal communities. Like we would come together, even grieve together, live together, all of that. And it's not that problems did not exist during that time. It's just we did it together, right, as a community. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Coming together would not change the world suddenly. The pace is very slow. We know things are happening. And yet it would give you that sense of community and camaraderie and your own tribe that you can carry yourself, carry inside of you. Maybe you can physically or inside of your heart as you go around in the world.
It's very beautiful. Okay, so I think with this we come to the end of hopefully an episode that is very personal to me, and I think I hope it's going to be helpful for a lot of people who are listening to us. Thank you so much to Saumya for joining us and giving us such beautiful, insightful metaphors and point of discussions that we'll be really taking with ourselves, and maybe it'll help us engage more with our community also. Thank you so much for joining us, Soumya. And
Most welcome. I had such a good time. And that's my focus generally when I'm talking. I want to have a good time. And it was so nice to, even this is a community,
right,
that we're talking,
right.
all three of us, because it's such a natural thing. You come in and you're like, oh, this person is perfect. What problem will they have? But then to hear that, hey, they're going through their own journey and we're all together, it was so nice. And yeah, to share this space. And I hope it reaches many more women. They hear this. And yeah, we're here.
Thank you everyone for listening, and we hope you enjoyed.